welcome back to Off the Rack Rebellion, the podcast where we talk about costuming and how to take everyday finds and incorporate them into your everyday cosplay. Kate, how are you doing?
I am doing well. I'm sans mic today, but I'm doing well. Hello.
We've got a guest with us today.
Yes.
Why don't you introduce yourself, Kevin?
Hey, well, my name is Kevin. I'm Burgundy Squadron B29, and I'm here to talk to you guys about events that you might wear your Off the Rack Rebellion costumes to.
Absolutely.
Yes.
We see so many, I salivate over the photos that I see at Space Dive. Every single corner, every single draped fabric is
Yes.
just amazing. It's everything that I've ever wanted, and I will make it one day. I promise.
Yes.
You guys should come. I know a guy that could probably get you in. Yeah, I mean, that's you've nailed like one of my number one bullet points in this conversation is we focus very hard on having a 360-degree photo opportunity for anybody who's there. There's no such thing as, like people think about like walking onto a set, but if you've actually been on a movie set in any capacity, you realize you're only getting like 3 of the 4 walls. Where here it's not a set, like in the sense that we're there to film. This is an environment that we've created completely immersive, and we want to have you be just as excited as we are to be in a galaxy far, far away in a dangerous, skeevy little bar on that corner where you could end up losing a hand if you cross the wrong guy, or you may find yourself in the middle of a blaster fight. So it goes further than just what you would do. Like, I want to compare. It's hard to compare to other things, but I guess the next closest thing out there is Galaxy's Edge. But obviously, you're in Disney World. You're surrounded by people with Mickey Mouse ears and pushing a stroller. It is beautiful.
No blasters.
But yes, no blasters, and you better watch some of those costume details because you don't want to be. They're getting better about that though.
Yeah.
But where at Space Dive, we want you to wear everything. You can wear a helmet. You can carry a blaster. If you shoot your blaster, you might get shot back at. So that's a huge major difference right there.
Oh man. So
yeah.
Where did this idea come from? Because I don't know if I know the origins or even when you all started and like what the project was for.
Yeah, sure. Okay. It really started 15 years ago, or excuse me, 10 years ago, realistically, in 2015. That was what we call episode 1 of Space Dive. And it was really born of it kind of grew out of another group that does an immersive Halloween party, and having a lot of people in our age bracket who are massive Star Wars fans. They were 2 of the core members, John and Dan, were talking about, just the cantina experience. And every time they'd watch episode 4, they would go, I want to have a drink at that bar. And it was born of, they wanted to know what it's like to have a drink at the cantina, have a angry bartender scream at you for bringing droids in, and the whole experience of anything could go down at any time. It's a little dangerous, a little bit rough.
Yeah.
Greedo might show up and pull a blaster on you. You might have to shoot your way out of that too. So they set off to build a bar just that they could drink in. So they found an art gallery that also has a bar, and they wanted to do essentially like a takeover and just theme it, and invited people to come out and say, hey, wear your costumes. You can drink at a bar. And it's only grown up from that to like, what else can we build? What else is in that environment? So it grows every single year, and it gets more immersive, and that core bar is still there. It's just, it keeps growing off of that.
So it's a pop-up every year. Does the facade stay? Does the art gallery keep that now up, or is it everything is put up every year?
Everything aside from 2 walls are put up every single year.
Wow.
And it all has to be trucked in. It takes us roughly 6 weeks to assemble it, like inside the bar. And that sometimes in the past, some of the floor plan has changed. So when their floor plan has changed, we have to change our floor plan to accommodate it, because we're missing like anchor points and things that we used to be able to build off of. So,
Of course.
so yeah, we have to evolve as that art gallery it evolves.
Yeah. Wow. And it's become a bit of a fundraiser for them. Is that correct? Like it is that part of it?
Well, I mean,
Or is it?
are you talking about the bar itself, or
just the event? Like, is the event like benefiting them, or does it benefit like actual space dive so you can use it in future years, or like what's?
No, it's we just try to break even.
Yeah. Okay. Gotcha.
To be honest, it's a pretty decent sized budget, and it's always on a wing and a prayer that we get enough people through the door to enjoy it, that we can do it again one more year.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Gotcha. Oh,
Yeah, I was gonna ask. I mean, you were saying that everything gets trucked in, because you have some pretty big set pieces that go on there, like, and that just gets stored for the rest of the year.
Oh my god! Yeah. Who has the pole barn?
Well, we have storage units throughout Metro Detroit. We have some shipping containers that house different parts of it. There's pieces of Space Dive in my own home that get worked on and then brought back in the rafters of people's garages. It's kind of like it's a joint effort to make everything happen.
Yeah.
So the day that we move in is chaos. It's organized chaos, but it's chaos.
Oh my god!
I do love seeing like the behind the scenes stuffs when I think last year you guys had put out a bunch of videos of getting the stuff out there and starting the sort of build, and there's this excitement that comes with it, because like what's at the end of all that hard work. And I can't wait to go.
Yeah, I mean, you guys will love it. I can say that with all sincerity. I mean, I know what this podcast is based on, and it's based on people just like us. You're going to meet a ton more people just like us that come out to it, and I'm very happy. I'm very proud to be part of it and be able to contribute to it and grow with the show. That's why I volunteer my time to do it.
That's incredible.
Fantastic. So it's generally around May the 4th. However, you've done 2 weekends in the past, right? Like, was last year your first year of 2?
Yes. Yeah, we figured it was worth it to pay out the extra cost on renting out the gallery space, because it's so much work to put it up that, what else could we do with it? And part of that is like, in between the 2 weekends, we can continue to work on things and also, do our own promotional videos. So we don't have we have more control over the space than when you have, 500 people in there.
Absolutely. Yeah. Do you have dates set for this year?
We sure do.
My calendar's out.
Yeah. So like you mentioned, we always do it touching May the 4th in some capacity. So for 2025, we're May 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. That would be Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Okay.
And then the following weekend is the 9th and the 10th.
Yes. Okay.
Friday
I'm going to book my plane tickets today.
Do it. Yeah, come back.
Because I keep telling you I'm coming, and every year there's something happening. Why does anyone schedule anything for May the 4th? It's not Star Wars. I don't know, but they do it. But then I can't come. So I will be there.
Yeah, you got to put it in your calendar now, so that when somebody says, then you say, "I'm sorry." I'm
my family. I'm like, everyone, I will be there if you want to see me.
Like, Mom, we're gonna have to move your birthday or what? No. This year,
come to Space
Dive. On the
15th. Celebrating Mother's Day.
Yeah, you gotta own it. You just gotta take over and own it.
Oh my gosh, cool. I'm putting in Space Dive. I've been like, okay, it's January. What? Can I message him and ask him yet? Are they planning this far ahead? Because I plan ahead. Oh, I love it. Okay, so if you're going to Space Dive this year, people, go to that second weekend and I'll say hi to you.
Yeah, I would have to go that
or come both weekends.
Yeah, or people who don't have obligations on May the 4th, go both weekends.
My wife's birthday's on the 1st of May, and we always go away for it, so she always wants to be somewhere on a beach with people just bringing her, like, food and drinks for, like, a week, so, that's, like, butting right up against it
So
always, and I'm
then
like,
what you
"Oh."
do is she flies home to England, and then you fly to Detroit, okay?
That's what I'm thinking.
Just saying.
Might
Yeah.
have to happen. Yeah.
You could come enjoy the beaches in Detroit,
There's
but
so many.
Yeah, right?
There's
it
gonna be a lot of snow, but there's still
it may not
But
be
there's beaches.
yeah. It's not, well, it won't be snow, but it won't be bathing suit weather either.
I know
But
Right.
people with boats. We'll go out. It'll be fine.
but on that note, I'm glad that kind of came up, because you think about it, like a lot of times that, okay, so we know Star Wars, we all talk about this stuff, and we always talk about Star Wars, like the silhouette and everything. All the clothes is always this layered look, and you
Mhm.
try and do layered look in hot weather,
Oof.
and
It's
you turn
awesome.
into a melted candle so
Yes.
fast, and
Yes.
it's like you can't help but sweat. But that's one beauty about early May in Detroit
Mhm.
Tuine, is you can pull off all those layers and you will be perfectly comfortable.
Yes.
You know, like you actually can wear what we see on screen and not have to worry
Mhm.
about that. And I think that's like one beautiful benefit of it, is like we're just transitioning into spring weather. You know, the late nights can dip, but we have, you know, at Space Dive, we have fire pits and things like that on the outside to warm up, and on the inside, it's not a problem at all. Everybody stays warm.
Oh, I can't wait. Oh my gosh. I will be there. I seriously am going to be buying my tickets this week. Oh, yes.
Yeah.
This is my dream. I love it. Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
So
of all the things in the year, that's the one that gives me the most FOMO. Like,
FOMO, I know, right? Well, and it's gotta be it's a great opportunity also, if you're meeting up with people to there's a lot of industrial scenes in that area, right? Where you can go
right,
and do a photo shoot or something with a friend, right? Like it's
right.
yeah,
Absolutely. Yeah.
I think it's a great location. Oh my gosh. Detroit
And
to me. I want a bumper sticker.
you can get the, you know, the obviously the urban blight look. You can get
Mhm.
the industrial factory look, something more like ferric or something, or you can
Mhm.
get you know, even like modern architecture too downtown, like the Rensen
Yeah,
building outside of there. There's a
definitely.
lot of things you can get out of it.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Plus, I mean, like plenty of wooded parks. I mean, like Detroit is such a you've got a lot of conifers and a lot of
Yeah.
greenery in that area. It's coming on the spring, right? So, yeah,
Right. They might be
a lot of
slightly barren at that point, or just budding
yeah,
green, but yeah. But that's a look in and
make
of
it fun.
itself.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, totally, totally. Oh man, where it's at. So,
So
love
I
it.
do have to say I've gotta thank you. I know I thanked you profusely when you sent it to me, but for last year's space dive, you sent me a video of like, um, what was it that you said? You said something to the effect of like, "I know you couldn't make it, but you're here," and you put one of my stickers on the back of one of the wall panels, and I was like,
Oh,
"Ah," like, it just brought to my
Yeah.
tears. I was like, "Thank you."
Once I found out you weren't coming, I'm like, you know, there's some behind the scenes areas that, you
Yeah.
know, one could possibly find if you're curious. We do invite a certain level of curiosity in the space. I mean, provided you don't end up, you know, somewhere like you shouldn't be,
mhm.
you know, behind the cash register or something like that. But like there's the environment is built for you to explore and to meet people, end up in a side quest, end up on a scavenger hunt. Maybe you're crossing a sabak dealer. You end up in a high stakes game, or you end up in a hidden alcove where you find Billy's decoder sticker hidden inside, because the narrative changes and flows every year, and it builds upon it. Since I had it in my costume pouch, like waiting for a perfect opportunity to place it, and I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna shoot this, and like, whoop, there it goes, right on the well, I'm not
Perfect.
gonna tell you where, because I want you to find it, or
I
Kate can
will.
find it.
That's awesome. Oh my gosh, yeah, that's the mission. If you don't show up, I'm gonna find it for you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. So Kevin, when did you start? Because like when you were still getting all your equipment hooked up, we were like looking in the background, like I'm jealous of everything he makes all the
Oh,
time. Like when did you
I know.
start? Like
Oh,
like
you know, I kind of like when did I start building things or
Yeah,
space
building,
editing? Oh,
sewing.
building.
When did you
Yeah.
start your personal cosplay Star Wars?
So I feel like it's literally like a lifelong like journey, and part of it is because like growing up we didn't have like a ton of money. My father was a public school teacher, my mom was a stay-at-home mom, and so like for me, like my big Star Wars things were just action figures. So I never had like play sets or ships or anything like that. So I would build those things out of either if it was temporary, like in like a backyard sandbox or something like that, or like I would build like dioramas. Like I remember in particular building a Dagobah diorama out of like a appliance box, and I built it in, and it was painted backdrop, and I brought in sticks and made Yoda's hut, and like there was like little bridges that went across, and same for the Ewok village. It was literally made out of logs that were scavenged in the woods, and I would build my own things, and that still continues. Like I even look at it like I'm gonna build these blasters. These are all the blasters I ever wanted. I never had one. I had sticks, so it'd be like pew pew, and that was my blaster. Now I'm like, I can do better than that, and so I just started building all the things I ever wanted, and it's become a little bit obsessive, but
that's okay.
I lean into that obsession.
Yeah, and you built a lot of stuff out of actual metal as well.
Yeah,
which is
that's top level.
I love working with metal. There's something about like when we're painting up something that isn't metal, but we know that the base core item would be metal. So like we build up all the paint layers, you put down your primers, then you get it all perfect and your silver spray paints, and then you're doing all the chipping away on top of that thing just to simulate what it would look like if it was scraped up metal.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, well, what if I just start with the metal and then scrape it? And there's definitely changes in weight, and in some cases, if it's like a blaster, you could really turn somebody off at a con. But most of my big props don't really leave the house, except for in some cases they go to space dive. But or anything that would kind of freak people out, or like if they touch, oh, that's real metal, someone could get hurt. But so I build them for me. They don't always leave the house.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, and you did the I have in my notes here, which Kate spotted, but I was like, the best General Kenobi on the planet. Like,
oh, thanks, guys.
It's like I get whiplash. I'm like, oh my god, look at him.
Incredible. It's incredible. It's incredible how you transform. It's incredible craftsmanship, and I know that armor is also metal as well, isn't it?
The upper body pieces, so like the shoulders and the like pauldrons are made out of aluminum, and it was something that like I had saw. Basically, there were some kits for sale that were on like Etsy. I didn't quite like the shape of them, and I thought like, well, I'm gonna have to end up modifying them. And then I saw some 3D print files that look very squared off. They didn't have like a very organic shape to them. And I'm like, I'm not gonna go that route. So I'm like, well, how hard could it be? I'll build it out of cardboard, and if I can bend cardboard, I can bend metal. And so that's what I did, and that was like I think I started that project at the end, or August 1st was like my planning, and then by like 2 weeks before Halloween I had finished it. So that was kind of a sprint, but a lot of the other pieces, so like the forearms are vac form plastic, the shins are vac form plastic as well, but basically the upper body and all the soft parts are the things that I built, including the neck seal, which is not metal. It's made of leather. but I really appreciate the compliments, guys, on that. I worked at it, and then I thought like, how long am I gonna keep facial hair and my hair like this, to do this character? And it's kind of stuck around now for a few years, and I think a lot of people are used to seeing me this way. So the glasses help disguise. I actually showed
Clark Kent.
I showed some coworkers of mine photos of me, and like some of my costume work, and then they didn't even realize that the photos were me. They thought it was some other actor.
Oh
And
my
I just like lift my glasses
That's
off, like,
amazing.
whoa.
That's Superman. That's why I worked for him.
It is that thing, right? That when someone's used to seeing you a certain way, they
Yeah.
can't even picture it when they see you like
Right.
completely transformed.
Right.
That's, I guess, the magic, right? There's a bit of magic in cosplay, I think. Yeah.
I think it's amazing that, you know, we every time you would watch like Superman, you're like, how are these people fooled? It's a pair of glasses. And I'm like, no, it actually does work. It's crazy. People don't recognize you at all. But
it's the kind of thing where like they say on I don't know, I watch a lot of like documentaries on like MI6 and stuff like that, right? I just love all that spy stuff, right? And they say that when they're actually working on disguises, rather than trying to make themselves completely blend in, what you want is something that um kind of stands out a bit, because that completely takes over someone
Right.
looking at your face. For instance, like they'll have like an agent um who has like a false like pregnant belly, right?
Right.
And all anyone remembers is there was a pregnant person on the scene. They
Yeah.
don't remember they were wearing this or they have this color hair or anything like that. They see the standout thing. So I think sometimes like something like glasses or like a wild, I don't know, wild hair or something could work to your advantage, because people
Yeah.
only remember that thing rather than your physical description.
Right.
Absolutely. Yeah.
It's actually handy for Burgundy Squadron, right?
Yes.
No, I mean that's really valid. I mean that's true in all your costuming. That, like, if you change just a couple of features, and it doesn't have to be like even like the difficult ones like height or weight, but like you can broaden your shoulders just with shoulder pads or something like that, and or even walk with a limp or something, and people will like remember that and not even realize, or like hunch your shoulders or something like that. But going back to General Kenobi, like I do that with the Rebel Legion. So like that's typically something I'll do like at conventions. As far as like space dive, of us who put it on, we don't focus on any sort of main characters. I will show up. We do a kids' day event like during the day where parents are allowed to bring their kids so they can enjoy it too. And I'll occasionally wear my my General Kenobi stuff for that, because the kids, I think, like to see someone they know and not just like weird rebel scoundrels that are dirty and
yeah.
So,
they want to see a familiar face. Yeah, they don't
right, and a good guy at that. They don't want to.
yeah.
But other than that, you won't find me at night wearing that. In fact, none of us will. We try and let our patrons come and be their own main characters. If you lean into role playing, we'll lean back. Like those are the kind of things that we try and pull that out of it, because we want that immersive environment. And that can mean any number of things, from like the way you look. You might garner attention for looking overdressed or underdressed. It can go sort of either way. And we really like to lean into that. There's also like no Jedi like in our crew. Like we try not to, because we're like, that's a main character like trait like right off the bat. So we try to be the background characters that you might know, and everybody's got a name and a story. They've got their own things that they're into. We're all role players, just like what you would want. We're not just guy picking up trash. We might know where something's hidden or something is, or when a band's playing or whatever.
Oh, that's awesome.
Sounds incredible.
Oh, it's everything we've wanted ever. It's been going on since 2015, like almost in my hometown, and I never knew it.
It's been very discreet for a long time.
Yeah.
We're finally trying to push it out a little bit further. We've been getting a lot of attention from people outside of the Detroit area. Last year we had people coming in from New York, from Illinois, Pennsylvania, all through Ohio, Indiana. We have people that were kind of pulling in New York was probably our furthest travel, but we've had people express coming from other countries that wanted to enjoy the experience too. And I'm like, wow, this is we should probably start getting our act together as far as like getting some hotels listed on the website.
Yeah. Well, and I'm gonna make another plug. I mean, like, because I like born and raised multiple generation from Michigan, and I often tell people, like, don't discredit it as a flyover state. Like, go to Michigan, go to Detroit. There's so much history. So, if you're thinking about it and you're like, oh, I mean, that's kind of far away. It's not. San Diego or like, Orlando, they're far away. They're on opposite sides of the country, but go and like
true.
there's so many amazing things that you can see in that region. So if you're trying to go to this event, like, tack on other things, go to the Henry Ford Museum, go to the Detroit Institute of Arts, like, go see these things that this city is really proud of, and they should be.
Yeah. So. We have a lot of history even outside of the automotive, although that's what people mostly remember us for. But even the automotive industry is kind of a interesting tale in and of itself.
It really is. Yeah, actually, Henry Ford was a pretty fascinating person. And like definitely changed our country, right, and the world. Yeah. And so it's an interesting, just the innovation and the push towards But even at the Henry Ford Museum at Greenfield Village, the Wright brothers shop is there. There is an amazing. They have amazing trains that are there with a roundhouse, and you can go and you can see. I loved going and seeing like the gears of the trains and the people working on the trains, and like, this is a lost art, right? Like, who works on the steam train, right? Like, so like there's stuff in this area to see, and not just like, oh, what do you do in Detroit? Go, people.
Right.
So
yeah, there's plenty of stuff to do for a week. If you came in for a weekend, you will not be bored. There's great food and there's lots of things to do.
Yeah, totally. Absolutely. So, I love it. Yeah. What's your most recent? What are you working on right now?
So, I've been working on a blaster. I think I posted it up a little bit, like teasing it out. I decided to go ahead and build the full-sized DLT 19, and that's the
big boy repeater,
the big boy blaster, the 4 foot long that was based off the German MG34 machine gun. And I've just been finishing up the scope. I'm waiting for weather to get a little bit better to paint it, but it'll be coming to Space Dive for sure. Alongside of my Imperial persona, that because I guess that's another thing I should talk about, like the time frame of Space Dive is it is a little bit of an amalgamation, but in general we're kind of looking at like just post Imperial. So think like season 1 of Mando, where like the Imperials are kind of like found themselves kind of backed into a corner. So like we're kind of celebrating,
right?
Wow, yeah.
So we do have Imperial presence there, but they're not oppressive, but they're still there. So you will encounter an Imperial presence, and they might still try and boss you around or whatever. Obviously they're not gonna do anything any physical harm, but you might you can
jostle back and forth a little. You can
yes. Yeah.
You can chirp at each other.
The rebels have the upper hand in our timeline, so that's we're kind of leaning into that like celebratory, and we're looking for people to come join us in that rebellion positive era for the most part, and costume yourself as such. And anybody listening to this now and you don't know about like how to costume, because costumes are 100% mandatory. If I didn't mention that before,
which I love about this event, because that's what you're in the cantina at Galaxy's Edge, and like there's people in t-shirts and flip-flops and goofy hats, and you're like, this is taking me out of this moment that I want so badly.
For me, it's the basketball jerseys and cargo shorts, and I'm like, no.
So a little bit like Studio 54 in New York back in the 70s, where they're kind of like curating the line. We do the same thing. And if it doesn't matter if you paid for a ticket or not, if you're not putting the effort in, you can get turned away. And I don't want to scare anybody off, but you can be turned away if you did not do it. The other thing to look out for that I want to make note of is for people who show up and they're like, I'm wearing a costume, but their idea of costume is like, like something jokey, like I'm a lumber Dorian, like they're like a lumberjack Mandalorian like combo where they just put on like the helmet and then they're wearing flannel and like like
you don't want anything mundane,
like a mashup,
right?
like a mashup costume,
right?
Right.
Yeah. No joke costumes. We had like there was we've gotten that in the past, and we've unfortunately had to break the news. Like, is there anything you can do to go home and like dress this up, or like, because we're not looking for a jokey thing, or like they're like something like if somebody showed up in like full bondage gear but then put on like Darth Vader mask and like they're like, I'm Darth Vader, like Daddy Darth or something.
Oh no.
You need a different event, honey.
I just have to say, Kevin, you are speaking directly like into my heart and soul.
Right? Like setting down these lines for this event and being like, no, we're not crossing it.
Yeah. There's a good chance you will get turned away. So we don't, just a fair warning, like think in the spirit, go to our website, or if you want to see some pictures of the past, it's spacedive313.com, and there's pictures in the gallery. You get an idea of like what we're kind of looking for. You don't have to go full alien or anything like that. If you want to, we will of course love it and support it, but as long as you make a reasonable attempt, if you do the bare bones basics of what Ceit and Billy have laid out, and they're giving you all the links. Don't let us down, guys. Show up and do that.
Well, and I even a couple years ago, I mean, I couldn't go. Everyone I knew was like sending me, because you were on there was some sort of news outlet that covered it, and so everyone I knew in Michigan was like, have you seen this? And I'm like, yes, yes, thank you. And so then I was like,
sent it.
I have. My youngest brother and also was like, have you seen this? I'm like, yeah, I talked to some of the people that make it. It's like, of course you do.
Right.
But like, I even have offered, like, if you are stumped, send me a message. I will like personally help you style something. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. My door is always
to go to this
open
event.
too.
I don't want, Billy will do the same. I don't want you to be turned away. I want you to live this dream. I want you to contribute to what these folks are setting up. Like, like
there's only so much that I could do for myself. So if anyone has an idea that like, hey, I just need to find this, that, or the third, like that, like, let me help you. It's my favorite thing to do. And sometimes it's something way outside of like what I would do or what I've been thinking of. So it's fun for me to sort of switch gears for a second and say, okay, this is what you're looking for. This is what your your aim is. Let me dig into the crates. Let me dig into the archive. Like, let's see what I can find for you and give you some kind of tips. Yeah, I love that. Those are the messages that I love, that I get. We used to get them a lot, Ceit, at the beginning of the.
I know, because of the Halcyon. See, God, I'm like
Star Cruiser.
Yeah, the Star Cruiser.
Everyone,
we definitely, which is why it was lovely. But a lot of people, I know, a lot of people knew me at Halcyon. I was like, they're like, I looked at your page for clothing. I'm like, awesome, yes.
Yeah, we and you've helped us out in the past too. You put together a style guide that we rebroadcasted, and that was also very helpful. Just with it, break it down into these particular things. You got an inner layer, you got an outer layer, you got a belt, you got boots. You can't go wrong. Like, stick to these colors and like you're gold. And honestly, that works. That'll get you in the door, no problem. Everything that you laid out, just layer it up and show up.
And so much of the stuff, I mean, we iterate this all the time, is so much of the stuff, it can be found. I mean, like, go to your Goodwill, go to your local sports store and grab a canvas vest, right? I mean, like it can be found easily. Yeah. So you can play too.
It's also easy to like to just run a stitch on something, to just like customize something or crop something. It's
cut your zipper off.
Yeah. It's not hard. I'll walk you through it. I am like horrible at it. Like, I'm not great at it, but like, it's not hard. But the thing I always say is like, just because you're not a professional dancer does not mean you should not shake your ass on the dance floor. Like, go out
Yeah.
there. Like, go out there and
And
move your body.
you might find that really you have this, internal drive to become so
Exactly.
good, and you never knew it. Like, you
Yeah.
never knew it till you try.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Love it.
I want you guys to show up so bad.
I know.
I do. I'm
going to be really
try
riding
my
on Billy
hardest.
now, being like, Billy, we're making it happen. Billy,
I'm gonna try my hardest. I'm gonna try my hardest. Like, there's a couple of things that I definitely want to do. I'm gonna see if I can make that one happen.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There is a definite trip at the end of the year. There's one coming up in March. If I could fit one more in, I think it'd be good.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
So yeah.
We'll talk more. I'm gonna be like messaging you like weekly, like, what do you think?
Yeah. What I have to I have to find what the dates are that we will be away. By we is this, this household.
Yes.
If I can come back and make a quick jump, I will. And if I have to, if it has to be just for the weekend, I will. Like, yeah.
Yeah. Come experience it, because I think we've got things that you really can't get anywhere else. I mean, I don't think we know for sure in any Disney park, they're not going to let you have a blaster in one hand and a drink in the other and walk around. That's step one. On top of
there
that,
are some Renaissance festivals where you can't even do that. You know what I mean? Like, you can't walk around with a beer at our Washington one. So
yeah. And then you probably also won't see space burlesque dancers like anywhere, on a stage at Disney. We like to jokingly say that we're like an unsanitized Galaxy's Edge, where there's no Purell to be found here. This is the dirty side. This is the adult side. It is 21 plus. I should mention that, unless you're coming on Kids Day. So yeah, they will be checking IDs.
Great.
They bring your money, and not just for drinks.
Because there are vendors, right? Like,
there are vendors and everything. There's a highly curated. It's short but highly curated vendor list. Everything is handmade. There's like no like 3D printed like things there. Like, these are like, we have ceramicists, we have leather workers, we have like healers. Like, that's part of the experience. I don't want to give away too much because I want people to come experience some of these things. You might even get like a tarot card reading like type thing, like a experience like
tarot
that.
Card reading,
maybe.
Love it. I love it.
I mean, it's a very organic and an interesting space to play in that I think is unique. I can't think of anything else quite like it.
I love it. This is awesome. This is the LARPing that I'm looking for. This is the
yes.
space.
Yeah, if you find yourself that like having to travel, and you can't bring a Nerf blaster with you, like on a plane or something like that, you might even be able to get one off of the black market there, for a certain price.
Nice.
Or smuggle in some ammo. So
I love it.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun to play, and it's a lot of fun to be behind the scenes. But it's like, it's two different experiences. I did it once where I got to experience everything, and I'm like, I want in. I want to play. I'm gonna be on. I want to help people enjoy this, because I want to feed this, and I want to give this to other people, and help breed more people to do the very same thing.
I love that. That's where I come. I love event planning and event creating, just because I love giving people that mood, right? Like that.
Right.
You get to enjoy this, and I totally understand that. Awesome. So well, I mean, where can they find you? Like, where can they find you? Where can they find Space Dive? Where can they book their airline tickets?
What are the best hotels?
So yeah, we will be putting up, like, if right now you can go to Space Dive 313, those digits, not THREE, 313.com. That's our website. Tickets will go on sale sometime early March. There will be early bird specials. You'll have to pay attention to our social media, which is on Instagram. We're Space Dive 313. That's all one word. There's no underscores or dashes or anything. So you'll be able to follow us there. You probably should pay attention to stories as well as posts.
Yeah.
There's probably might even be some coded things that might hint you in on certain things coming up, like when tickets go on sale. So it's you're the more you know. If you don't know Arabesh, you might want to get a translator,
a decoder from Billy.
We are getting a decoder from Billy. Yeah, there you go. Sorry, I missed that opportunity.
Thanks. Sorry. I'm always plugging that decoder. We were talking about it before the show.
But yeah, I mean, what we do it in, anything that's on screen, anything visual is not going to be in common or however you want to phrase, English lettering. Like it's true in the environment too. If you need to know something, you're going to have to be able to decode it.
Okay.
So that goes with the feed as well. So part of the game that you get to play in ahead of time. So that's Space Dive. As far as I go, you can find me at Blaster Master Maker. That's all one word. And that's my own personal page of my props and costumes and junk I like to make.
And you should definitely go look. Like you want to see these things if you don't follow already. And we will also be sharing mentioning both so that folks can find it.
Yeah. And through the run-up, I'm sure.
Yes. Well, Billy, where can folks find you?
I'm at Billy Maddox. I'm always there.
Always there.
Say hi. I'll say hi.
I'm Kate Ryder. I'm at One Scavenger's Wardrobe. There are underscores underneath. You can find both of us jointly for the podcast at Off the Rack Rebellion. There are dots between the words. Thank you to the Bad Batch for hosting us in their family of podcasts, and for Raimi for being backstage as our producer. And just remember that a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away can be right here and right now.